I built a home called the Modern Victorian. I don't know if you saw that on my website. It's like that black
Okay.
Gothic looking home.
Yeah.
It was like my pride and joy. And, building up this social media following and YouTube and everything, it got like 30 to 40 million views on Instagram.
Amazing.
Everyone in the city of Austin knows me as the builder of the Modern Victorian. And it's just been like this amazing culmination of like all the hard work I've done on various projects and like building up the social media and all that time spent. And it came together in this one project and it was just like a rocket ship. And I think,
Congratulations.
thank you. And that's a moment that anyone that like makes it big on social or marketing, they talk about this moment where like everything just kind of lines up. And I just thought that was like such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I really wish, like I want to tell anyone, if you're starting on this journey and you're new at it, give it some years. We're talking 5+ years, and you're going to have one of these types of moments where you just feel like things are clicking and you kind of take off.
You're listening to the Remodeler Digital Playbook, a show created to inspire remodeling contractors to achieve success in their remodeling business. I am your host, Ratna Ramakrishnan. I'm also the founder of Remodeler Digital, the digital marketing agency for remodeling contractors. In each episode, I'll be chatting with remodeling contractors and top experts discussing their proven methods for revenue generation, the insights they've gained, and the keys to remodeling success. And I'll be sharing my knowledge of how I created a 7-figure business using digital marketing. I'm excited today to be speaking to John.
Hi, Rathna. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Please go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about your business, how many years you've been in business, and if you're comfortable sharing your revenue numbers and employee counts, that would be wonderful as well.
Sure. My name is John Gioffre. I'm the owner of Revent Builds. We are a very high-end remodeler, custom home builder in Austin, Texas. Um, our annual gross revenue is about 7.5 to 8 million ish. We have myself, my wife, hold on, an admin, project manager, superintendent. We have 5 employees.
Excellent.
The rest of all of our staff is going to be subcontractors.
And how many years have you been in business?
I started in construction in around 2012. I started this company, Revent Builds, early 2017.
Nice. And what got you into the construction business?
Well, what's funny is no one in my family is in construction. I didn't go to school for this or anything. I actually started a real estate investment company in Houston where we were buying rehab homes, like buy and holds, putting very little into them. They were kind of like distressed properties. But I just started falling in love with the process. It was like I was kind of playing general contractor. Then we did about 10 houses, and I was like, hey, I kind of know what I'm doing. So then I started working for clients, did a couple flips, did my first upscale remodel for myself. And when I did that, that was just like I had a massive breakthrough. I was like, this is what I want to do with my life. I get to be creative. I get to interact with so many people. My day is ever changing. And the problem solving, right? So I actually played college football. So after I was done, it left this big hole in me of like this intensity and competitive nature, right? So I found a lot of that through building and the problem solving and just how many trials and tribulations that you face.
Well, that's so cool. Indeed, with general contracting, there are so many surprises that you have to be ready for, right?
Oh my gosh. I call it crisis management.
Absolutely. So, who is your ideal customer?
So our ideal customer is, usually they can really be any age, but usually I find they're probably 35 plus, probably a sweet spot around like 45, 50 years old. They've gone through a few properties, maybe they've done some rehabs, they've done, a couple renovations, so they're a little more seasoned to the process. And now they've bought their dream property and they
Wow.
want us to entirely gut it, remodel it, add on to it, make it their dream home.
So you build a lot of custom homes?
Yeah, we do. We do a lot of custom homes. We do a lot of speculative homes too, which means, we'll buy the lot, either tear down the house and build new or renovate it and sell it. So we
Mm.
do a lot of that as well.
And what types of marketing are you doing right now? What's in your marketing toolbox?
So I'm very heavy into SEO because I don't want to use a lead gen service where I'm paying them all this money and it's making them grow. I want to grow, so that means we're always updating our website. I think it's just like a really really great way to build your own company up. So I do SEO. I do a lot of Google ads, Facebook ads. I have an in-house videographer. Sorry, I didn't mention that. He's one of my sixth employee.
Okay.
So he does all of our content creation, full videography, full editing. So we're on YouTube, Instagram, all of that stuff. And we're meeting tons of different people there. We meet a bunch of subcontractors through social media, clients, even, other TV production agencies that want to potentially do a show on what we're doing.
Excellent. So which of these efforts do you think is driving your highest quality leads? Are they coming from your website, from Google Ads?
You know, honestly, like the very highest quality leads, I think a lot of that is getting in this tight circle of, like, let's say a neighborhood and you build a really standout home,
Awesome.
then a lot of people are seeing that. So it's a lot of grassroots, right? But what I think is really interesting is in conjunction with that. So like just being in the community, like have like that's where social media helps just get your name out there. Then they see the house and they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I saw you on Instagram, and then I searched, like Austin, Texas custom home builder, and you were there. So it's like they're seeing us in like three or four
Right.
spots, right?
Omnipresence.
Yeah, so I'm really a big believer that I don't think people even call you until they see you the third, fourth, or fifth time. So
Absolutely.
I'm trying to show up everywhere, and that's kind of a common theme.
Excellent. So your videographer then takes before and after photos or completed projects. Like, do you have a process for the videography?
Yeah, so we will actually document the whole entire build like a short docu-series. So people are following along the whole time. And what's so funny is someone's like, hey, I saw this house on your website. This is the style that we want to build it.
Right.
Or I've never seen anyone do that and I fell in love with it. Can you do the same for me? But another thing that I've just come up with that's been exceptional is I call it build camp. So every big speculative project we do a build camp along with it. So I'll sign up, anywhere from 50 to 100 people. They pay $1,000 fee. And then I teach them all about the home building process.
Oh,
I
wow.
have on site meetings with them. They follow along the build the whole time. And it's so surprising how many people, they're seeing you in this like education kind of like professor role, and they think more highly of you, and then they want to hire you to do work for them.
So
Um,
so these are homeowners that are following along. So
yes.
potential clients for you.
Yeah. And, a lot of the times the people will, they'll call me a year after following me and they'll say, I've been following you along for for a year, and I've seen everything you do. And I'm also very open and honest. So it's not like we're only portraying the perfect stuff. I show how we overcome obstacles, how certain logistics errors, and just like we said earlier, like there's no denying that this isn't a perfect process. But what I tell people is you get a perfect result.
Okay.
And I think when they watch me and they see that unfold, they fully believe it. So it's really, really interesting. There are a lot of like other builders, remodelers, people in the build trade, but tons of homeowners that are
Amazing.
watching this and wanting to do things similar to what they're seeing on my channel.
So they are watching this on YouTube. They are not at the actual project site.
No, but the build camp is at the project site
Got it.
that I was talking about.
Okay.
That's like a course just specifically for that particular home, but that's much more in depth. But yeah, then, the vast majority of people is seeing this online on YouTube or Instagram, things like that.
That's such a cool idea. How long have you been doing this build camp?
You know what? I just started it. And I don't know how, I actually came up with it because so many people were following along and asking me questions. And, I always try to encourage people to kind of take this leap. If you want to get into building, I teach people kind of how to do it. And then I was basically like, would anyone be interested in this type of course? And I got hundreds of replies, like so many people wanting to, not even to become a builder, but like, hey, I want to be more informed as a homeowner.
Right.
I'm an architect and I want to know the build process better. I'm an interior designer. I'm a remodeler earlier in my career and I want to do multimillion-dollar jobs, things like that. So yeah, it's been really fascinating.
That's amazing because it's a huge investment and your home is such a precious space. So I can relate to how potential, clients of yours are interested in going through this build camp to learn more about the process. I would love to do it myself if I had an opportunity because it sounds so exciting.
Oh, thank you so much. And yeah, just to go in further, it's such a vulnerable experience.
So
You are trusting your builder so much. You're paying them all of this money. They're inside your home. You have personal belongings, just even locking the door, stuff like that. So it's like, the more that I can meet people and they can get a personal impression of me, the better that I feel and the more trusting and ready they are to take that next step. And that's why I also wanted to do the build camp, because the more informed that people are, the more they'll realize why our process is so much better and why we cost what we do and, things of that nature, because then they're like, oh, well, this cheaper guy does things this way. This is how Revent Builds does it.
Right. They have clarity as to why you're different and why you're special. Excellent. What would you say is your unique selling proposition? Why do you think people lean towards choosing you when they're ready to build a home or do a remodel? Is it your reviews, your credibility? What do you think helps you?
Yeah, so I have a saying that it's 100% satisfaction 100% of the time. We've never had one single project that we did not deliver 100% on. And now I think, so there's that. You have to have the track record. Here's my reviews, I'm good. But a lot of other companies have that. So what sets you apart? I think another thing, honestly, is in my sales approach, I am so bluntly honest. I will just tell people, I'll ask them questions about budgets and timelines and what their expectations are. And I will just tell them hey, I have to tell you right now, we are markedly different. Now, if you want to talk about how we can figure this out, that's okay. But if this is not a good fit for you, that's fine.
Well,
right? So I'm always just the voice of blunt honesty. Well, so-and-so said they can do it in X amount of time. And I'm like, well, that's just a blatant lie. We don't even have plans, right? So a lot of people, especially earlier in their career, they think that being good at customer service is being a yes man. It is actually the opposite. In construction, they're banking on us being the expert to guide them. And sometimes that can be a little uncomfortable. And I think it takes a lot of purposely putting yourself in these uncomfortable situations to work through it. But I think that's something that people greatly appreciate from me, one. The other thing is we are a very much, I call it, full concierge service. For instance, people are like, can we buy our flooring and tile and materials? No, you absolutely cannot. Why? Because I have a process and this is laborious. There's, they ship to the wrong place. It's damaged. We have to return it. There's back orders. It's we handle everything. And I tell people, when everything goes right, you can praise me. If anything goes wrong, it's my fault. You
Well,
come directly to me. So there's just this like total accountability.
excellent.
And then I think the last thing is, they get it from me, right? I mean, I'm the owner of the company. Like, I should uphold the values that I speak of. But once they meet my staff further and further down the line, all the way to the tradesmen, they are just, I hear this continuously. I cannot believe the caliber of people you have working for you. And I think, I just tell people I would never have someone in your home that I wouldn't have in mind.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of these factors that, I think if you have one, you're good, but then you need to build and build and build to where they're evaluating you on all these criteria, and you want to, I won't say perfect, but you want to stand out in all those areas.
Right. Excellent. Thank you for describing the process to me. It is indeed unique. You mentioned you believe in SEO and you're investing in SEO. Do you have an in-house team that does it? Do you outsource it? What are the things you do for SEO so you're found online? Because you're absolutely right. You have to keep updating the website and be current so the Google algorithm knows that you exist. But what are some of do you have an in-house team? Do you outsource it? What are things that you've done that have worked well for you?
So I do outsource it. It's a team of 3 people. I pay about $5,000 a month, which sounds like a lot. But if you land, $1 million project, and let's say it costs you 60 grand in the year, I mean, that's nothing.
Right.
You've paid yourself off 4 or 5-fold, right? So there's this period where you have to understand that you are not going to see results for a minimum of 6 months. You just won't see anything. But what starts to happen is this snowball. Like, you start to, it's like a big giant wave and the tide rises, right? So you really have to believe. I think it's so tough because SEO is such a smoke and mirrors industry where like none of us builders, like most of us, if we're not in technology, really understand it.
Right.
So there's a lot of trust there, right? So I think you have to heavily, heavily vet these people, because I've gone through maybe 4 or 5 other companies and I didn't get good results, and I finally landed on one that I'm really happy with, right? But okay, so another thing is many people think once you have the website, you're done. It's like, no, you are just getting started. I mean, we probably have 30 different pages built into our website, right? Where we're taking all of this, the keywords, which means like Austin, Texas, custom home builder, or whatever, ATX, luxury builder. So a lot of the early time frame, like the first few months, you're testing hypothesis. You're testing what keywords work, and you're embedding those words in all of your different pages. And you have to have website copy, which is just all the words in your website, like a novel. And I wrote it all myself because I wanted to be very personable. But then you send it to the SEO team and they embed all of these scientific, it really is a science.
Yes.
They like sneakily embed all the terms so that when people search them, Google will find you.
Right.
And basically, in this day and age, if you are not doing SEO, you're going to get left behind. Unless, a lot of people have a great referral base, but, there's nothing like quantitative about that. With SEO, you can see how many people are searching for you, what clicks you're getting, how many of those are converting, all of that stuff. So there's just so much data and like testing and retesting to confirm all of that.
Absolutely. That's amazing how you actually understand SEO and you've committed to it. That's wonderful.
Well, I really won't say that I understand it. I know more than I did, and I know I'm in good hands. But what I do understand is you see your trends.
Exactly.
And when you see everything moving upwards, you're doing something right.
Right. When I say understanding, it's the understanding that it takes time, and it's a commitment to like keep doing it so you can enjoy the results from the fruits that you'll bear over time.
Absolutely.
And when you look at ads, do you set a certain budget? Like, how do you arrive at a marketing spend for your company? Do you set a % of your revenue goals, or?
Yeah, and that's also going to be like, so a pay per click, depending on what keywords you're attacking, like, if they're really competitive or if it's a niche or if you're naturally good in it. So there's a lot of that, but I'd say usually we spend about 12 to 1500 a month on ads
Perfect.
on on Google, and then we spend about 12 to 1500 a month on ads on social media.
Excellent. Yeah. Cool. And do you have a plan in place for the leads that come in and don't convert? Do you follow up with them, or do you email them? Do you have a newsletter?
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of the time, I will have I have a group of colleagues and other people that I'm mentoring that I'll facilitate it going to someone that I want to help. And what's amazing is some of these people I've been helping for a year or two. Then I'm getting consistent feedback that they're doing well, and then they start coming in as maybe a subcontractor with us,
Mhm.
or tag teaming a project. So it's this really amazing way of making use of those leads that don't convert.
Excellent. That's really very giving of you to give it to other young contractors to help them.
Well, I mean, I had people do the same for me, and I just know what a grind it can be, right? So giving back is like a big part of what I do, and I get a lot of satisfaction out of it.
Amazing. Hey, remodeling contractors, every tip and strategy we discuss on this podcast stems from working exclusively with internet marketing for remodelers. I created Remodeler Digital to share that expertise and to be a part of your success story. Think of us as your digital partners, always here to lend a hand. Visit remodelerdigital.com and let's build your digital future one strategy at a time. So, considering you've been in business so many years, is there anything related to marketing that you've tried and you've said enough, like, I'm not going to do it anymore?
I'm actually a big believer that it's not the type of marketing you're doing, it's how you're doing it.
Awesome.
Because okay, let's say you have like really great, like super long form content that like what might be great on something like YouTube. If you try to do that on Instagram, you're going to flop. So I think it's more of like you have to learn the medium that you're doing it in, or you have to have an expert there. So like for the most part, I'm trying to think. I don't think anything I've just said is like not useful. I think it all can be useful. To me, I just focus on things that are going to get the biggest visibility. Like for me personally, I wouldn't invest in like a newspaper or a magazine,
Right.
especially like local. Like there's some of these places that it's thousands and thousands. Like I'm talking about $5,000 to get like a 2-page spread, and you're like, this is only going to how many people, right? So like, I actually kind of vet that before I do it. So those are just things that I feel like I haven't done because I'm like, why wouldn't I rather just go on Google and get in front of thousands and thousands of people? So, and I know that works for some people, but I think there's just a lot of stuff where people are just trying to put their hand in the cookie jar.
Yep.
And you got to sniff that out. Is it really going to help me? Or is this just some local organization with like doing a money grab, right?
Right. Good point. So I noticed you have about 47 Google reviews. What is your process in collecting reviews as you're finishing projects? Are you using a tool? Are you having your team ask for reviews? Do you personally write to the client? Like, what is your process?
You know what's funny is I handle all the client facing stuff still. I do all the selling, and then I'll follow up with everyone, and usually they're just super happy at the end. And you have to bug people a little bit, but I go to Google My Business and I send them the link directly there, and I'll just kind of keep bugging them about it.
And then they oblige.
Or sometimes it's almost like there's one little extra thing they want us to do or something. I'm like, all right, look, you need to give me a good review. And, we weren't going to paint this room, but we will, so there's like certain funny things, but a lot of the time, like I said, this concierge service, we have a really personal relationship with the client. So a lot of the time it's just as easy as sending the link with a text. And I will say, like, a bit of advice is like, make sure you send that link at the right
Yeah.
time, because because I tell clients this also. I say, look, in the beginning, you're gonna love me. You're gonna love that we're making progress. Like, we're gonna get out there, foundation and framing flies, and then at a certain point, it just feels like nothing's getting done, and there's inspections, and you're wondering where people are because we can't really move on to the next thing without getting the inspection on the previous blah blah blah. I'm like, 3/4 of the way through, you're gonna be not a happy camper. You're gonna be really tired from the remodel. You're gonna be upset. Little things are gonna tick you off. There's just, little obstacles that we've gone through that your patience is gonna be low. So you don't want to send it at that time, right? You want to send it when you've like delivered the final product and they're like, oh my God, all of this trials and tribulations were so worth it, right? So like, sending it at the right time is very key.
Awesome. That's a great tip. Um, so in terms of marketing, are you using any email marketing, text marketing?
Nope.
Not.
I honestly personally hate email marketing. I think it's very spammy. I don't think anyone reads them really. And I don't want to bother people with it, honestly. I think if I was going to do, like, I think if you're giving someone a really good deal,
Uh-huh.
or like, if you're like, hey, we're having a Revent, like, customer appreciation party, like stuff like that is really fun. But like, I don't know, I'm just not big. I have to unsubscribe on so many of my own that I don't really do
You
it.
feel inundated. Understandable. So tell me a few fun things about yourself, about I'm a mom to 2 boys. I've been a digital marketer for a decade. So tell me some fun things about yourself.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I have two girls. One's 8 and one's 2. They kind of run my life along with my wife. I met my wife in 8th grade,
Oh,
actually, crazy
precious,
enough.
precious.
Yeah. So she's been through it all with me. She's really like our CFO too. So
Uh-huh.
she does a lot of our financial forecasting and working with our CPA and things like that. Um, so yeah, there's like a really fun dynamic there, which is also tough, right? But I just had this epiphany like maybe 3 or 4 years ago where I was like, if we're paying other people to like trust them, like managing our money and like trust the financial success of our company, I'm like, geez, like I trust no one more than my wife. And, there was some learning curve, but we basically got with a few professionals and, gave her the tools that she needed, and she's killing it.
Amazing.
Ever since I did that, everything, business, personal, it just started taking off because I used to do all that crap, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not good in that area. I need to stay in my lane. Um, so I was also an athlete. I was undefeated Texas state heavyweight champion in
Wow.
wrestling.
Wow.
Yeah, I played football at Rice University. Um, Always just been like very, very competitive. Um, and yeah, basically like I'm a pretty big showman. Also, I did an acting class for fun, like my senior year in college, and then they made me the lead role of a Shakespeare play.
Wow.
Uh,
Excellent.
so I think a lot of that, this gregariousness, and I like to have fun and just so much joy in life. Putting that all in front of a camera and putting it out to people has been a game changer. And everyone I talk to, even myself, you feel kind of silly and stupid and like it's kind of narcissistic feeling in the beginning. There's a lot of discomfort, but like once you put it all out there and when you're genuine, it's such an amazing tool to network with people. And, so furthermore, sorry if I'm going on about
No,
myself,
I
but
love it.
it's one of my easiest topics to talk about. But I built a home called the Modern Victorian. I don't know if you saw that on my website. It's like that black Gothic looking home.
Yeah.
It was like my pride and joy. And, building up this social media following and YouTube and everything, it got like 30 to 40 million views on Instagram.
Amazing.
Everyone in the city of Austin knows me as the builder of the Modern Victorian. And it's just been like this amazing culmination of like all the hard work I've done on various projects and like building up the social media and all that time spent. And it came together in this one project and it was just like a rocket ship. And I think,
Congratulations.
thank you. And that's a moment that anyone that like makes it big on social or marketing, they talk about this moment where like everything just kind of lines up. And I just thought that was like such a beautiful thing. And I really wish, like I want to tell anyone, if you're starting on this journey and you're new at it, give it some years. We're talking 5+ years, and you're going to have one of these types of moments where you just feel like things are clicking and you kind of take off.
Absolutely. Yep. Um, that's amazing that you had that many million followers, like following those your videos.
Yes, it was actually insane. Yeah. And, my biggest investor ever, he saw me, he followed that whole build. And it impressed him so much that he's literally invested multi-million-dollars. We're doing our 3 biggest projects ever. And one is double the Modern Victorian. So that was 3 million. We're doing a $6 million house.
Fantastic.
And then we're doing a $10 million house, all financed from one individual that followed me on social media.
Amazing. Amazing. You have really put social media to amazing use. You've gone viral basically from your efforts.
Yeah, and I mean you can go viral and it'd be bad
True,
too, right?
true.
So like I'm glad it was for something a little bit more positive.
So considering you do so much, you client facing, you manage your team, and for a young contractor, if you were to advise them on time management, are there tools that you use to manage your time? You have a favorite book that you've read that kind of stands out and helps you through your business life? Is there any wisdom that you'd like to share with younger
Yeah,
contractors?
honestly, Gary Keller's The One Thing
Ah,
is absolutely incredible. He was actually a business partner of mine
oh,
in the first company that I was part of in Austin. So that was an incredible experience. But that was the biggest takeaway. It's just that like 20% of your effort can garner 80% of the results. So I find that a lot of people fall into this trap of making these kind of meaningless to-do lists, and they feel like if they're knocking out all of these tasks that they're going somewhere. And if they're not tasks that are extremely important, all you're doing is spinning your wheels. You're wasting your time. So it's better like if you just need to focus on where to get your next project and landing your next project, everything else can go to the wayside. It's like that is what's going to put food on your table. Focus on the things that you need most. Yeah, when you're in a job with a client, it has to run smoothly. You have to deliver that 100% of the time, right? But still, there's so many ways to get there smarter, not harder.
right.
And that book is just it'll blow your mind. It's almost weird. It feels like cheating, but it's like yes, just focus on the important things, and those deliver the important results.
Absolutely. Yep. I love that book as well. I've read it too.
Oh, cool.
So, are you using any AI in your business? Chat GPT and
Yes, we use ChatGPT for like a bunch of our headings and for our videos and like scripts that we write and just coming up with different ideas too. We also use a program called Midjourney,
yes,
which is a visual AI
it's fun.
where we can just spit out ideas for homes and it comes up with some really cool stuff that like by itself might not be that great, but it can spark some ideas in you. We also use an invoicing software called Adaptive that uses AI to you send the invoice into Adaptive, it reads all the information from it, categorizes everything for you. So it's almost taking the position of a bookkeeper.
Wow.
It's absolutely fantastic.
Adaptive. Is that what it's called?
Adaptive, yes.
Nice.
They're game changer.
Cool. What about other software? Are you using Builder Trend or for?
Yes, I use Builder Trend. I think I think Builder Trend is a little bit can be too much for someone that's early on,
Yep.
and it can really feel that way. But how they do their pricing is if you're not doing that many homes or projects per year, it's not that expensive. It's better to get it. They have free trainings. The scheduling and like project management tools in there are amazing. And you can have all of that be accessed by the client. They have unlimited data storage, so you can put all of your insurance, every single plan, every single bid. It just helps with organization. But for actual estimates, I use a software called Joist.
Wow.
Super, super easy, incredibly intuitive. So for invoicing and estimates, that's what I use.
So, as a contractor, what year did you start using technology to help you? Did you go and invest in Builder Trend, Adaptive, these kinds of tools right away, or did you just do it in an old-fashioned spreadsheet and said, "Okay, now is the
Yeah,
time"?
I beat my head against the wall in the beginning. I would like write estimates in like Microsoft Word and like just like like to me it's like appearances are everything. You get a simple program that you put your logo in and it has the whole back end and the structure and they don't even realize it's a different company. You send them this invoice from Builder Trend or Joyce or whatever it is and it just looks like so much more professional,
Uh-huh.
right? That's another way to stand out. I also went to law school. I graduated law school, so I was really, really good at writing. So I use that to my like in my benefit, where I would write these very, very detailed project scopes of what we were and were not doing, and just like spell checking everything. Like there is some skill that everyone has that they have an edge.
Wow, wow.
You might be super creative. Incorporate that into your logo or maybe a custom email signature. Like there's so many different ways that you can shine, and you have to find that and kind of like even if you think it's insignificant, it's not. If people are like, wow, like I just love the picture that you had at the bottom of your email of one of your projects or whatever it is, it'll make people remember you.
Right, right. Very cool. Any additional nuggets of wisdom that you'd like to share with new contractors, people in the industry?
Yes, my mantra is there is always a path forward.
Well,
Sometimes I don't know how many times, countless times, I've been in a position where I just thought like, man, I really backed myself into a corner. Like not to be too punny, the house is going to tumble down, right? It's like there's so many of these obstacles that when you face it for the first time, it seems like super treacherous and it will derail you. But persistence is all you need.
well,
There is always a path forward, whether it's you just admitting you were wrong and redoing something.
right.
It's like that very, very rarely will you hear something that is like career ending or devastating. So just knowing that you can work your way through everything has been very comforting for me. But find a mentor.
Well,
The mentors that have been through all of the crap, they will let you know that it's not that big of a deal. Do this, and that. Oh my God. I thought I'd have to rip this whole house down and start over. We missed, there's a little wire. It's called a grounding wire. They call it a UFER that you have to put in your foundation before you pour it, or you can't pass your final. And we missed it. And I was like, oh my God, I have to tear out the foundation. Whoa, man, call this engineer. They'll test it. You can even chip 10 feet and put it in there. Like, there's just always things. Just because you don't know the answer doesn't mean there isn't.
amazing. Excellent. So, considering we are already in Q4, how do you plan for the new year?
I just plan by staying as busy as I can. Whenever you get like a moment to breathe, it's a weird feeling. You have to look at like, am I breathing because things are going really well, or am I breathing because I'm about to hit a gap in my schedule?
Right.
Right? So I think what I tell people is stress. That's being very, very busy, being overworked. Stress is fine because you just work through it. Worry, on the other hand, when you don't have enough projects, when you're worrying about where your next job is going to come from, that is extremely tough to work through. So before you overlook this small project or maybe a client that you think is a little bit too needy, like, if you're early on, I basically said no to nothing. We would do bathrooms for $5,000, whereas now our master baths are $150,000, right? So it's like, don't think you're above anything when you're first starting out. You need that track record. You need that experience. Go out and get it.
Excellent. Very cool. I absolutely enjoyed speaking to you. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you so much for having me. It was my pleasure.
If you would like to generate more leads through your digital marketing efforts, please visit remodelerdigital.com and check the workshop section for video training and guides on everything from running effective pay-per-click ads and how to have your website be best friends with the Google algorithm. Also sign up for a 15-minute discovery call with me to run an online snapshot report of your remodeling business. This has been another successful episode of the Remodeler Digital Playbook. Thanks for listening.